Good morning, dear students. In this class, I am going to explain about the corolla shapes. Yesterday, I had explained in the video that group of petal is called as corolla. So, corolla is of different shape. For example, there is a cruciform corolla, then after that cryophyllaceous corolla, rosaceous corolla, campanulate corolla, tubular corolla, and number other numbers are also given here. So before starting the portion, I would like to tell you meaning of the certain technical terms. For example, polypetalous corolla. Polypetalous means petals free, and gamopetalous means petal united. Gamopetalous, gamo means fused, so petals united, and polypetalous, petals free, so in that case it will be petals free. Polypetalous corolla. Now cruciform, it consists of 4 free petals and each differentiated into claw and limb arranged in the form of cross. Crucifery family is there and mustard is the representative of that. Here you can see this is the claw region and this is the limb region. Petals are arranged in the form of cross. Next is cryophyllaceous corolla. It consists of 5 petals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 petals are there. And after that, in this what happens that with comparatively long claws and the limbs placed at right angles to each other. Claws and the limbs, they are placed at right angles to each other. Now after that, next one is rosaceous corolla. This form of corolla consists of petals not distinguishable into limb and claw, and here you can say that their petals are spreading regularly outwards. For example, peach and cherry. This rosaceous corolla is like this. Petals are coming outward. Then after that, next is campanulate corolla. The shape of the corolla looks like a bell. This type of corolla, campanulate corolla, and here example is the campanula. Then after that, next one is the tubular corolla. As its name indicate, tube like corolla. This one here you can see that this is the tubular corolla, and florets, disc florets of sunflower are example of this type of corolla. Now next is the infundibuliform, means funnel shaped corolla, and this infundibuliform corolla, like this corolla, is in your course in the class 12th, and this type of corolla is represented by the petunia, that is the family Solanaceae. Now after that, next one is the rotate corolla, wheel shaped corolla. Here you can see this is the wheel shaped corolla, rotate corolla. Now the next one is the papilionaceous corolla. Papilionaceous corolla is represented by the zygomorphic flowers, and in that there is a long standard with the 2 wings and the 2 keels. Then after that, next one is the bilabiate corolla, 2-lipped zygomorphic corolla. Here it is given in your book and it is represented by ocimum, that is the tulsi. Now after that, next one is personate corolla. In that, a bilabiate corolla having a prominent palate is there, and this is called as personate corolla. Here there is a palette like appearance. Now the next is the ligulate corolla, strap shaped corolla. This is the ligulate corolla, and the example is in this case is you can say that belonging to the sunflower, and basically the ligulate is the strap shaped, and example the sunflower, that is the ray florets of the sunflower. Then urceolate corolla or urceolate corolla. Here in this case, urn shaped, pitcher like, hollow and hollow and contracted at the mouth. This portion, the pitcher plant I had shown you when you were in the lower classes. So this is a bag shaped pitcher like corolla. Then after that, perianth. Perianth is a condition when the sepals and petals are indistinguishable. You cannot distinguish between the sepal and the petal or the calyx and the corolla. So this condition is called as perianth condition. Now the next condition is the tepal condition. In the tepal condition, you can say that here it is given as individual members of perianth are called as tepal. When the calyx and corolla are indistinguishable, for example, the member of liliaceae, onion flower, this is the perianth, and individual members are called as tepal. Then after that, next type of corolla is called next is the androecium. As I had explained you yesterday that androecium is composed of stamen, and each stamen represents the male reproductive organ, and stamen has got a anther, filament and connective type of arrangement. I had shown you yesterday. Then cohesion of stamen, in that first is monoadelphous. All the stamens are united into one group by their filament and they form a tube-like structure. As in case of Malvaceae family, China rose, a tube-like structure is formed. That is the filaments are united in this case, forming a tube-like structure called monoadelphous. Diadelphous, the filaments are united in the two bundles. There are two separate bundles are formed. For example, in case of P, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 will be at one side and 1 will be at another side. So they are arranged in two groups, and this arrangement is called as 9+1 arrangement. So this is a condition which is called as diadelphous. Then after that, polyadelphous, the filaments are united into several groups. Examples are given, for example, bombyx and citrus. Syngenesious anthers are united and they form a cylinder around a style. Here the diagrams are given, just please go through after that. Then next is synandrous, all stamens united throughout their whole length, involving both the filament and the anthers. Likewise, here the examples are, this is the monoadelphous, this is diadelphous, two groups are there. Polyadelphous, many groups are there. Then syngenesious, cylinder-like structure is there, and the synandrous, that is all the stamens are united throughout their whole length, involving both the filament and the anther. Here you can see that. Then after that, next topic, these things are quite nicely given in your book, so you just go through with your book. Length of the stamen, didynamous. Didynamous, there are 4 stamens, 2 short and 2 long. So this condition is the didymous condition. Here didynamous condition, 2 long and 2 short. Then tetradynamous condition. In the tetradynamous condition, an androecium of 6 stamens with inner 4 long and outer 2 short. Inner 4 long and outer 2 short. This is the tetradynamous condition. Then adhesion of stamens, epipetalous, if they are present above the petal. Epipetalous, epiphyllous, stamen adhering to the perianth in the aforesaid manner. So this will be called as epiphyllous. Kynandrous condition is the condition when stamens adhere to the carpel either throughout their length or by their anthers only. So in this case, this condition will be called as kynandrous condition. Example, calotropis. Now the number of lobes of anther, dithecous if 2 lobes present, monothecous if single lobe is present. Then attachment of filament to anther, adenate filaments running the whole length of the anther from the base to the apex. This is adenate condition. Basifix, they are attached at the base. So this is the basifix condition. Dorsifix, it is attached at the dorsal surface. Versatile, anthers swing usually in air. Filaments attached to the back of the anther at a point only, so that latter can swing freely. For example, in the grasses, this is the versatile anther. Now dehiscence of anther, in that two form: intros when they burst inwards and extros when they burst outward. Then gynecium, I had explained yesterday, stigma, style and ovary. And now addition of carpel, apocarpus, a pistil of two or more carpel which are free is called as apocarpus. Here you can see this is the apocarpus condition. Then next is syncarpus, a pistil of two or more carpel which are fused. Here you can see this condition is called as syncarpus. Number of locules in the ovary, that is the chambers, can be considered as unilocular, single chamber. When one chamber is there, bilocular. When two chambers are there, then this will be called as bilocular condition. Trilocular with the three chambers, tetralocular with the four chambers, and pentralocular with the five chambers. Placentation is the arrangement of ovule within the ovary, and this is called as placentation. And placentation is of following types: marginal placentation. It is the condition in which the gynecium is monocarpellary, that is single carpel is present. Then axile, in this type of placentation, the gynecium is multicarpellary. Parietal, the gynecium is multicarpellary and syncarpus. And here in this case, free central, the gynecium is multicarpellary, and you can say that syngenesious condition. Basal ovary is unilocular, and the solitary ovule appears to arise from the base of the ovary. So in this case, this is the basal placentation. Now here in diagram, just see, this is the marginal placentation. Ovules are born at the margin. This is the axile placentation. This one is, you can say that, another type of placentation which is called as parietal placentation. Then example, please you remember: free central, basal placentation, superficial placentation. So these are the types of placentation. When you cut the lemon, then also you will find the number of compartments on which the seeds are embedded. This is also a sort of placentation. Inflorescence, group of flowers or the bunch of flowers borne on the similar axis. This is called as inflorescence. Now after that, types of inflorescence, in that racemose is given and the cymose is given. Racemose, in what happens, and in this type of inflorescence, the floral axis, you can say that the floral part or the floral axis shows the intermediate growth, producing the flowers in an acropetal succession. That is, oldest flower is at the lowest and the youngest flower is at the uppermost. Whereas in the cymose inflorescence, what happens, that in this case, what happens, the growth of the main axis is determinate. You can determine the growth of the main axis. Here the differences are given, just please go through with that. Now the fruit is the portion which you can say that it is the mature or ripened ovary. The fruit consists of pericarp that develops from the ovary wall, and after that there is the seed is also there. Then afterwards other part are there, mesocarp and endocarp. Here you can see that this is epicarp, this is mesocarp. Then after that here endocarp is present like this, seed is there inside. So these are the main portion of the fruits. Other points I will be taking on tomorrow in the next class, because this is a core chapters and most of the things already you have done. So I am taking it from book. Wherever it will be required to take the explanations, I will be taking the help of the another form of the case video. Now here the seeds, you know that there are of two types, monocots and dicots. Already we have done about the albuminous seeds and the non-albuminous seeds. Then after that, X albuminous, X albuminous, and X albuminous, albuminous dicot, and X albuminous, albuminous monocot conditions. So this portion I will be taking on later on. So those who are seeing the video every day, they may be having the queries. You please ask your queries on my number, and it is again I am requesting that see the video, and wherever you find any problem, immediately you clarify your problem so that it will be helpful for getting towards the another step. Thank you.